I unplugged my Ring doorbell, but I can't shake off the feeling that I'm still being watched. Maybe because after this Super Bowl ad aired,
Search party from Ring uses AI to help families find lost dogs.
the entire world realized that Ring was doing a lot more than just finding lost dogs.
I'm sorry, the Ring camera wants to do what?
What else are they tracking besides dogs, bruh?
We're the dogs. Nuts.
Or are you gonna let the surveillance state call you good boy?
The backlash was so toxic that Ring freaked out. Almost overnight, they pulled the plug on their massive surveillance deal with Flock Safety. But canceling that partnership was just a distraction. To hide the back door, they left wide open. The dystopian reality they showed us already exists today, and it's being abused. I spent the last 24 hours trying to live a totally normal day in my city, the second most dangerous city in America, without being logged by a private company. I failed miserably. The crazy part is despite millions of dollars of investment, the crime rate really hasn't budged. Today, I'm going to show you how we are openly funding a private police state, and why it's not just a simple matter of cameras or no cameras. Okay, I'm starting my day at my local coffee shop. Look, crime is real. I'm not here to pretend that wanting to feel safe in my own neighborhood is a bad thing. And that was Ring's original pitch. Their literal mission statement was reduce crime in communities. Stick a camera to your door, connect it to Wi-Fi, and feel safe. And the thing is, it works. At least that's what they say. The data and research isn't as strong, but it's a compelling story. Why would a criminal rob a house with a camera when they can hit the house next door that doesn't have one? On that 1 mile drive for coffee, I was potentially recorded by 13 Ring cameras. As of 2023, there are an estimated 10 million homes with Ring doorbells. We bought these cameras to protect our own property, but that Super Bowl ad revealed a massive shift in how this technology actually works. The ad showed off a feature called Search Party. You upload a picture of your lost dog, and Amazon's AI automatically scans footage from nearby Ring cameras to find your dog. Now, if they can track a golden retriever's side quest, they can surely track a person, or my car. And sure enough, leaked emails suggest exactly that, even though Ring denies it. But as I head out to work, I realize Ring isn't even the biggest problem. Sure, Ring sold fear to homeowners and convinced us to pay them $100 to build a crowdsourced surveillance network. But our cities were building something much larger, and it's widely used today. After the backlash, Ring didn't turn their search party feature off. Instead, they canceled their partnership with the surveillance company Flock Safety, which has its own network of surveillance cameras for law enforcement. These things are Flock cameras, and they've been popping up in cities all over the country. Like Ring cameras, they're all connected to each other, and its AI processes all sorts of data in real time. The deal would have integrated every single Ring camera into a camera network that police could access anytime they want. The thing is, even without this partnership, the police can still access Ring cameras. I'll show you how later. But the same way Ring got people to fund the Ring surveillance network, using fear, Flock got entire cities to buy into an expanding network of AI-powered cameras. During my 15-minute commute to work, I passed by 7 Flock cameras. Every time I pass by one of these cameras, my car gets logged into the cloud, ready for law enforcement to access my movements at their discretion. And that's Flock's goal. The bigger their camera network is, the more useful it is for police. That's why Flock needed that Ring contract so badly. The playbook is simple. Flock's sales reps go to police departments all across the US and sell fear. Look, police chief, you're understaffed, you're broke, and the public hates you. We can fix that. With Flock, access cameras all over your city, and any city for that matter. Our AI will do everything for you. Flock will find your perp, get them arrested, and write up the police report with the receipts. Then the police go and sell fear to their city council. If you don't approve this contract, crime will go up. Every time someone gets scared, the network expands. They tell us these things will just read license plates and will bring down crime.
They believe license plate readers can help them track down stolen cars, prevent and solve crime.
But it's not that simple. These cameras see a lot more than just license plates. Flock's website says that it tracks a car's make, model, color, alterations, and more. Security expert Ben Jordan extensively covered how these cameras work, and they definitely track people too, despite saying they don't. Ben also uncovered critical security flaws with these cameras. Despite this, here in Oakland, The city recently approved a $2 million plan to expand flock cameras across the city. But not without debate. Oaklanders were split. Some welcomed them, arguing that they would help solve crimes in a police department that's been overwhelmed with understaffing and bureaucracy.
We have a stolen car, we're going to be able to detect that that's a stolen vehicle.
He says the understaffed police department needs all the help it can get.
On the flip side, others protested them, citing other cities' police departments accessing these cameras, giving data to ICE, and the security vulnerabilities that come with them. While cities across the US are actually taking down their flock cameras under all this scrutiny, Oakland one of them. And I get why. Crime here is and has always been a lot higher than the state and national average. Having cameras everywhere makes us feel safer. Because if the cops aren't showing up and no one is there to witness the crime, did it really happen? But if we're collectively saying that we're giving up a right that we've had our entire lifetimes, then we should at least have some say in who owns the data and how it's collected, processed, and used. But when it comes to Flock and Ring and all of the others doing the same thing, we're at their mercy. Publicly, these companies are saying, just trust us, bro. But I'm going to show you everything they are doing and can do with the data they're collecting. Alright, it's lunchtime. Now that I know these Flock cameras are logging my every movement, I'm going to use this community source map to avoid them. There's one there that wasn't on the map. And there's a Ring camera. And another. I got lunch, but despite my best effort to get to my favorite spot, I still got flagged by 3 Flock cameras and at least 7 Ring cameras. Even though Ring canceled their partnership with Flock, these camera networks are becoming increasingly interconnected without us knowing. Another Ring feature is something called Neighbors, which law enforcement can use to request footage from Ring users. This feature is integrated with Axon Fuses, which police departments subscribe to get live video feeds from all kinds of private and public sources.
Fuses combines all public and private video resources into one common operating system,
including Ring cameras, and up until recently, Flock cameras. There's T there. More on that later. But all that to say, it's not just Ring, it's not just Flock. There are dozens of companies trying to create that thing from the dark night.
Community-owned cameras are combined with video management software, drones, departmentally issued cell phones, gunshot detection systems, and license plate readers.
And we are only now starting to understand how deep it goes. Although unverified, these emails and comments show how Flock is getting access to traffic cameras and regular security cameras, all connected onto a single platform. All this for what? Preventing crime? Solving crime? Mass surveillance? Who can say? Because what these companies claim to do and what they can do are two wildly different things. Every company is required to have a privacy policy that tells us the data these companies can collect and what they do with it. No one reads these, but I did. Flock says they keep data for 30 days, unless specified in a customer's agreement, which the public doesn't have access to. But we know for sure people have been tracked for months at a time. Their policy also doesn't mention anything about the company storing sensitive data, like biometrics, leading you to assume that they don't. But we already know they do. Ring also keeps footage indefinitely, under the guise of as long as it's legal. And Ring wipes their hands clean. They claim to just do the AI processing for their customers. So we're the criminals if these features are illegal. Axon also keeps personal data for as long as needed, and only processes sensitive personal data, including biometrics, where required by law, which is essentially a blank check for them to do whatever they want, because their products are law enforcement tools. So if Ring and Flock passes data over to Axon, it doesn't fall under Ring or Flock's privacy policy, and Axon says they'll do whatever they want with it. But that's not even the most concerning part. These companies can change their privacy policy anytime they want, hide it behind legalese, and most people will never notice. Remember Search Party? The feature that didn't originally come with Ring cameras. When it launched in 2025, everyone was included automatically. Most people didn't know about it until they saw that Super Bowl ad 6 months later. If you were pissed about Instagram going from chronological to algorithmic timeline, this should make you even more mad. These companies' business model is to find new ways to harvest data and sell it back to us in the name of safety and security. And the jury is still out if they're worth the money and privacy trade-offs. Finally, my day is over. But I need to go to Home Depot to grab a few things. And would you look at that? That's an ALPR that also connects to Axon Fuses. Home Depot and other private companies are also paying for these surveillance networks, and I get it. But are they actually effective? These companies say yes, and they have plenty of data to back it up. But it's like how cigarette companies got doctors to endorse smoking back in the 50s.
Yes, folks, the pleasing mildness of a Camel is just as enjoyable to a doctor as it is to you or me.
Ring says that their doorbells reduce burglaries by as much as 55%. But the MIT Media Lab studied camera doorbells and didn't find any evidence that they lowered crime. Then, take the recent Nancy Guthrie case. There are hundreds of flock cameras littered in Tucson, Arizona. They even have doorbell footage of her kidnapper, and she still hasn't been found. But for what it's worth, Ring CEO thinks she would be found if more people had Ring doorbells. Yes, we just need more. In San Diego Police Department's own report, officers searched Flock 250,000 times last year, and it was useful in advancing 361 cases. That means Flock didn't do anything 99% of the time, but the system cost the city $2 million. And here in Oakland, there are almost 300 Flock cameras across the city. Crime in Oakland went down after the cameras were installed in 2023. But crime went down everywhere. The trend matches the state and the country. Let's also not forget peak Kia Boys was 2023. We can't say Flock cameras caused crime to go down more than in places that didn't have Flock. But we also paid $2 million for them, while the police department went $31 million over budget. What we can say is, with or without these tools, the police can solve crimes when they want to. The Oakland mayor's car was stolen last month.
Police were notified about the vehicle being stolen on Tuesday and were able to recover the vehicle that same day in Vallejo.
But for regular Oaklanders,
here is where the city of Oakland keeps vehicles that have been abandoned or stolen. If you find your car here, many people in Oakland can tell you what to expect when you pick up your vehicle.
Once you get a certain amount of tickets, then they'll pick it up and impound it, and then you have to pay for those tickets and the impound.
In order to get our car back. Oakland has proved that they can use Flock to find the mayor's stolen car. But why aren't they doing the same for the other 10,000 cars stolen every year? If the cop who's been doing double overtime this week decides that your case isn't important enough, no amount of cameras is going to get you justice. I'm not saying that the mass surveillance police have access to can prevent or solve crime. There isn't enough data to really say for certain. But whether these cameras are effective or not, they are being used for more nefarious purposes by both the people who use them and the people who make them. All right, I'm gonna go hit the gym. Today, I encountered 33 Ring cameras, at least those that I can see, and 16 Flock cameras. With this data, someone can map out where I've been, when I was there, and how long I was there. Someone can easily paint a picture of my daily routine, my favorite cafe, lunch spot, gym, and when I took a shit my toilet couldn't handle every single day. But this isn't theoretical. People with access to these systems are abusing it in this way today, and we're seeing way too many examples of it. Recently, a Milwaukee cop was charged for using his city's Flock cameras to stalk his ex. The same thing happened in Florida, Georgia, and Kansas. And it's not just grunt cops, it's also their bosses. In Wisconsin, a police chief was charged with a felony for using Flock cameras to stalk his ex-wife. Another police chief in Georgia was arrested for using Flock cameras for stalking and harassment. And another police chief in Kansas was caught using Flock cameras to track his ex-girlfriend. I want to stress there are plenty more examples, and these are only the cases we know about. These are only the times they got caught. But it's not just the police. The FTC fined Ring for spying on customers inside their homes. Employees and contractors at Ring basically had unfettered access to any Ring camera in existence. Going back to the Nancy Guthrie case, Nancy had a Nest doorbell, which is owned by Google. And while it was great that they were able to find footage of her kidnapper, that footage shouldn't have existed. Nancy wasn't paying for cloud storage, which meant the footage should have been deleted or never recorded. But somehow, some way, investigators were able to get the footage. And it goes even deeper. Remember how Ring was going to work with Flock but then canceled, but Axon could already pull Ring and Flock footage, and then Axon decided to stop integrating with Flock, and now Flock is trying to get footage from your local traffic cameras? It's all related and it's all intentional. I think we're talking about all the wrong things when it comes to these cameras. We're arguing over whether or not we should have cameras, but that's the wrong fight. Because while we debate yes or no, these private tech companies are building a monopoly on our movements. Axon used to integrate with Flock camera feeds, but they stopped. This was purely a business decision. These companies don't really care about public safety, they just want to consolidate infrastructure. Now that Flock and Axon are direct competitors, they're both scrambling to plug in as many cameras as possible into their own networks. Traffic cameras, school cameras, retail cameras, and yes, Ring cameras. Because the company that controls the most data controls the product that police departments will buy into. We are the product for these surveillance companies, not the customer. A lot of cities are pulling out of their contracts with Flock right now. But it's also a huge red flag because they're just looking for a replacement that's going to do the same thing. Denver got rid of Flock, but gave their contract to Axon. Same in Syracuse, New York, and Lane County, Oregon. We might be the product, but we also have the power. One person unplugging one camera won't make a difference in the vast camera networks currently being propped up across the country. But small steps matter. First, opt out. If you have these doorbell cameras, make sure you know what data you're giving up. Second, appeal to your city. We need to back local leaders who critically think about their constituents' best interests and demand that any tools they adopt will have proper and verifiable safeguards in place. And third, talk to your neighbors. Crime happens when we let it happen. When an entire community, no matter how big or small, comes together, we have power in numbers. We can hold the people who are accountable to hold people who commit crimes accountable. Because ultimately, that's the real problem. The question isn't whether we have cameras. It's who controls them. The companies or us, the people who are being surveilled. We can implore our leaders to do what's right for our communities now, or risk waiting until the entire system has already been built by the very corporations who are distracting us from answering this question. Is the solution to crime more cameras? More cops? More community? Something else? Tell me in the comments. Thanks for watching.